It's everyone's favorite time of the week, the NFC West Huddle, where we break down the best division in football. That's not up for debate. With our NFL Fox affiliates representing all four teams, I'm here with Richard Sines from Phoenix, Keyshawn Ward from San Francisco, and Kyle Kraska from Los Angeles. Let's dive right in, because last week Seattle was all alone on the island of correct predictions against the rest of the huddle for the Cardinals-Seahawks game. Let's take a listen.
The most likely team to win is the Cardinals. It is.
I got to go with the Cardinals as well. I just think that the Seahawks coming off a very emotional win against the Niners. Gino won't admit it, but that was a Super Bowl win for him. He was 0-5 coming to that matchup. I just think that he finally got the monkey off his back. But I think the Cardinals have a formula to really beat the Seahawks.
I put it in my diary. This is the message. Gino, you're not that guy. You're not that guy, Gino. I'm saying the lock is the Cardinals, especially when you consider who San Francisco are playing. You know, they've got a tough game, Rams as well. So I think it's the Cardinals. Put your house payment on that thing.
Yeah, we keep our receipts up here in Seattle. Richard, we're starting with you, since you were willing to bet your mortgage on the Cardinals beating the Seahawks. So first of all, say something nice about the Seahawks. Second of all, does that win say more about the Cardinals or the Hawks?
Well, first, I just want to ask you, like on Thursday, do we wish you happy birthday or do we say happy Thanksgiving? Because I figure since it's Turkey Day, it's your birthday. I'm kidding. That's my dad joke for the show. I'm the turkey. I picked the Cardinals to win. I have it in my burn book, though, right? This is it, right? This is my diary. I'm holding it up. And guess what? I'm still going to go. I'm going to double down and say, hey, Gino, you're still not that guy. Okay, I got that out of the way. But I will say this, a tip of the cap to the Seattle Seahawks. They just beat the Arizona Cardinals at their own game. Their defense was amazing, 5 sacks. And the special teams, the field positioning all game long, they had the Cardinals starting deep in their own territory. They beat the Cardinals. They punched them in the mouth. And it's funny because the Cardinals made zero excuses. They just said, look, this team beat us, so quality win. The run defense was amazing. James Conner had nowhere to go. Another good thing about that game was Kyler Murray played against my fantasy team, the Chimichangas. So that was good. The Seahawks actually did me a favor. So a lot of good things came out of that game, except for the Cardinals losing that first place spot in the NFC West. So congrats to the Seahawks. I'm the turkey. I'm going to take it. I get it. I was wrong.
I was going to say, don't try to bury this in your fantasy happiness after your Chimichangas team. Gino may not be the guy, but he is the guy after he throws a mind-blowing interception almost every single time. He's good after he throws just a shocking pick. Okay, Keyshawn, Mike McDonald got in the lab. I think he destroyed the formula you believe the Cardinals had to beat the Seahawks. Same question to you. Do you think that win says more about the Hawks or the Cardinals?
Well, the Cardinals are who we thought they were. I got to give a quick shout out to the late, great Dennis Green. But in all seriousness, no, the Seahawks, they deserve this. I got to eat my crow. I'll be honest, like you just mentioned, Geno Smith on those bad interceptions, I'm like, I expect that. But this all came down to Seattle's defense. They held James Conner to 8 yards rushing, and he had over 697 against everybody else throughout the league. So this Seattle defense came out and played an exceptional game. They shut down the run, and then they made Kyler Murray throw the ball a little bit more than he had to, and Murray was just the pocket's getting caved in on by Leonard Williams. He had 6 tackles, 3 tackles for loss, and he had 2.5 sacks. So I got to give a shout out to the Seahawks defense. They did great. They deserved that win.
Seattle fans so far are absolutely loving this. But Kyle, you're not subject to retribution because you weren't here last week. Awfully convenient that Gerard is missing this week. Do you think that 16-6 result says more about Seattle or Arizona?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me back on the show. And yeah, I had to come on to try to speak some sense into all of you guys who, for some reason, picked the Cardinals. Richard, I can forgive you out there in the desert for picking the Cardinals to win this game. But really, this Cardinals team was going to go there and win at Seattle? That was not going to happen. I wish I'd been on the show a week ago to talk some sense into all of you. But I think it says a lot about both. Listen, I'm gonna give the Seahawks some flowers here, because I was absolutely critical of them early in the season. You remember I was on after week 3. They were 3-0. You asked me if I thought they'd be in first place come Christmas, and I said they're not going to be in first place come Halloween, which was essentially true. It's amazing. Seattle either lives in the penthouse or in the basement. They do not like the middle floors at all in this NFC West. So I give them a lot of credit. And again, a lot of what Keyshawn says, the way they played on defense was really impressive, and the way they got to Kyler Murray and sack a guy like that who moves really well, obviously out of the pocket, to sack him 5 times, extremely impressive. I think the Cardinals, sorry, Richard, but the Cardinals just going to start that quick nosedive now into the bottom of this division. And I like what Seattle's done. They're showing signs of life. And guys, you know it. I mean, look at the standings in this division. One week you're in, you wake up Sunday morning, you're in last place like Seattle was last week, and then by the end of the day you're in first place. So this thing's going to come right down to the end. I think Seattle's in a better position. They go into New Jersey this weekend to take on the Jets. That's a game they can win. The Cardinals going to lose at Minnesota. The 49ers going to lose in Buffalo. The Rams are going to win at New Orleans. So this whole division is going to, put it in a Yahtzee cup and shake it up and throw it on the board and see what you get. And that's what's so much fun really about the NFC West.
It is. It's competitive every single week. And Richard, I don't know why I didn't see you writing that down in your diary that the Cardinals are about to tailspin. Get that in there. He's not.
I'm
He's not
putting
going
it
to
right
forget.
here. He's like Fredo. He broke my heart in The Godfather. You broke my heart, Fredo. All right, Kyle. I'm going to remember that. I'm putting it down.
It will not be forgotten. Okay, there's no doubt this says more about the Seahawks than I think it does the Cardinals. Their defense, as you've all mentioned, is becoming more and more dangerous each week. Mike McDonald has figured out who in his lineup he needed to get rid of, and those were the linebackers, how to use each player like Devin Witherspoon even better. And he mentioned during the bye week, he figured out how to better prioritize his time as a head coach, first year as a head coach, and create more clear rules for his defensive game plan. We heard from Julian Love that he was telling him in Wednesday and Thursday before the bye week, hey, maybe you can do this, maybe you can do that. He's not a defensive coordinator anymore, so he can't really have time to do that, and it just mucks up what those defensive players are thinking about. So right now it looks clear as ever. This was the most physical game I've seen the Seahawks play as a defense since 2020, and before that, might have been even 2014. So I think the Cardinals are still a very talented team. I don't think they're going to tailspin after this. I think they're just going to cause more chaos, but I was shocked to see how much they chose to pass. I think the next time these two face off on December 8th, they're going to choose to try and run it more, because I was just waiting for Kyler Murray to break off on some designed run. I was kind of shocked at the game plan in general from the Cardinals, and the Hawks are still proving themselves in run defense. James Conner, 0% success rate, to your point, Keyshawn, on his 7 carries. I think we're going to see a different kind of game plan the next time these two meet. But the Seahawks, as I said, I think in the last 11 meetings down at State Farm Stadium, they've only lost 1 time. So, Keyshawn, we'll get back to you. The 49ers were missing a lot of players in Sunday's loss in Green Bay to the Packers. How seriously is the team taking a 28-point L when they had so many backups playing?
Yeah, they're taking it serious, but I'm not going to let that be the excuse. Let's just be honest. The Niners came out flat in the game against the Green Bay Packers. They had over 15 missed tackles on defense, and then the running game was non-existent. I believe every rusher for the Niners had under 30 yards rushing, which is insane. I mean, Mason and Guerrero, they didn't have no carries. It was just, the CMC throughout the whole game, but it was a bad game overall from out the gate. And it didn't really help because Brandon Allen's a backup. He needs that run game. And then on offense, with the receivers, Debo dropped 2 balls. And it caused a turnover when Xavier McKinney got in right into the Niners' red zone. It was just a bad day for the Niners overall. I can't really put on the injuries. The Niners just came out the gate flat, and they just got to get better. And it's going to be even worse because they're going to Buffalo in a snowstorm. So it's going to be very tough for the Niners going forward.
Yeah, no envy for the Niners here. We just saw a post from your colleague Bailey O'Carroll at 49ers practice. She said Brock Purdy is not throwing the ball again today. How worried are you about that, and any other players coming back from injury we should know about?
They just opened their practice window for Drake Greenlaw. I don't think he's going to play against Buffalo. He might be in the mix probably the next couple weeks. But Charvarius Ward will be back. He's been grieving because of the death of his daughter the past 3 weeks. He had to get his legs back last week. He should be back this Sunday. But other than that, I think the defensive tackle, Kevin Givens, is still dealing with concussion issues. And then Trent Williams still nursing that ankle. So we don't know. We'll know a little bit more as the week goes on. But Yeah, it's a dicey situation for Brock Purdy right now. 'Cause if he's not throwing the ball on a Wednesday and then going to Thursday and Friday, I don't think he'll be ready for Sunday against Buffalo. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Niners get ready for this game.
Yeah, and as an NFC West huddle group, as a full group, I think we all want to express gratitude and all the good thoughts for Charvarius Ward. What a thing to go through. We will all be cheering for him when he gets back on the field. But Kyle, the Rams lost 37-20 to Philadelphia. Are they officially headed in the wrong direction? I mean, you beat the Patriots, sure, but after giving up the most points at home since 2021, you also lost to the Dolphins. Was it just running into Saquon Barkley? Where is this Rams team headed?
Well, I think a lot of teams feel Saquon Barkley after a date with him. And remember, 255 yards on the ground, obviously a franchise record and a personal record for him. But remember, 2 of those carries, one was 72 yards, one was 70 yards. So 142 of the 255 came on 2 big bursts. That being said, you know, the Rams just kind of ran into a Mack truck in that game, and that was a tough loss. And you know, they'll be better. But as far as where they are, I mean, again, I remind everybody, let's calm down. The top and the bottom of this division is decided by 1 game at this point. So the Rams have plenty of time to recover from that. And if you go back just 1 year ago at this time, the Rams were 3-6, not 5-6, 3-6, and they won 7 of their last 8 games and made it into the postseason. This is a very talented team when it's healthy. And the most important thing on this team, and so many other teams in the National Football League, is the offensive line. I know it's boring to talk about offensive line. I mean, it's like kind of like reading the phone book, you know, but back in like the 70s and 80s, the phone book was important because they dropped this big book on your desk, you know, and it was like, oh, wow, these are the names and the addresses and the phone numbers of every single person in my city. Sounds kind of creepy in today's world. Richard, you remember the phone book, don't you? Yeah, for the younger folks at home.
I'm sitting on a phone book right now. I sit on my phone book so I can look taller on my show.
Sit on it, he says.
You should write about the phone book in your diary. But the point being is that just as important as the phone book was back when you were in college, is the fact that you've got to have a great offensive line to have any kind of success in the National Football League. And the Rams have had 10 different guys start at some point during the season already at offensive line. Rob Havenstein, kind of the glue of that line, has been out now for a while. They've been moving guys to different positions. Warren McClendon looked like a New York City subway turnstile at right tackle in that game against the Eagles. He needs to be better. If they can shore up that offensive line with the talent they have at all the skill positions. And oh, by the way, quick update, Tyler Higbee, who's a great tight end for this team, been out all season. He has now been designated to return from IR, so that may be another weapon to go with Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford, who was sacked 5 times in that game, and of course Kyron Williams. This team has plenty of time to recover and win this division.
Okay, well, we're going to just keep that telephone book open and then slide over the encyclopedia, open that one up too, because I want to ask Richard about Arizona's offensive line going forward after you got your right tackle back against the Seahawks, but still gave up the most sacks for Kyler Murray since 2022 and a bunch of pressures by the Seahawks defense. Anything from press conferences stand out, and how much concern is there about that offensive line?
You know, the funny thing is, the theme has been no panic, you know, just keep your composure. But I'm picturing them in the locker room like Will Ferrell in Old School in his underwear going, keep your composure, keep your, you know, because, you know, that was a bad game. I'd never seen Kyler Murray get hit like that in a game. He was sacked 5 times. So that was really interesting to see that happen coming out of a bye week, right? And you know, getting guys back fresh. So that was just a complete beatdown. But yeah, so far they've just saying, look, we got it. We know what we need to do to get back into the win column, and we've seen it happen so far this season for this team. After a tough loss to Washington, after a beatdown to Green Bay in Green Bay, they came back and won, and they've been accrediting that to their head coach and the mindset that they have with this team, where we know what we can do when we play the way we're supposed to play. And you kind of touched on it, Alyssa, about, you know, them not running the ball. It was almost like, you know, Drew Petzing, the offensive coordinator for the Cardinals, was trying to be too cute, like saying, well, I'm not going to run because you think I'm going to run, so we're going to try to trick you. And they weren't sticking with what got them there. And I think that's what they need to get back to, is what works for them. And that's setting the tone early, running the football, not putting Kyler Murray in harm's way. I think that's what they need to do moving forward.
Yeah, and I understand maybe you change route when you see Leonard Williams coming at you. He's in your lap all game long. And Jaron Reed, I mean, that Seahawks defense is scary. Okay, this next question is for everybody. I'll answer it first with the Seahawks. The division is still wide open. Kyle, you've mentioned it multiple times. What do you see and what do you need to see from the team you cover in order for them to finish first in the NFC West? Well, the Seahawks are already there. So continue to do what they're doing, mostly on defense. I trust this defense more than I have, like I said, in 4 years, but they have to get better on the offensive line in pass protect and the run game. That's truly the only major hole on this team because they have all the weapons when it comes to receivers. DK Metcalf, JSN, Jackson Smith and Jigba is now 6th in the NFL in receiving yards because he has just taken off. They're getting him in the middle of the field all over the place, especially in the screen game. But right now, Geno Smith has very little time to make a decision. And when he does have time, he almost doesn't know what to do with it. So he throws an atrocious interception. But we all know that successful teams have the ability to run the ball. Seattle can't right now. Kenneth Walker has just 95 yards on 30 carries in the last 2 games. The more comfortable right tackle Abe Lucas gets, though, after returning to the O-line, the first time he was back was in San Francisco when they won. The more productive this Hawks offense will be in general, because right now the run is not a threat to any team. If you're the opposing defense, you just think pass, 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 stop the pass, and you're going to do it because Geno will make a mistake. Tough news, though, to see right guard Anthony Bradford placed on injured reserve today. It could also mean opportunity because he has been frustrating at times for this offensive line, and there's 2 rookies, Satawa Laumea and Christian Haynes, that will likely step into that role. Could be an opportunity, could be something scary as a rookie that other teams try to take advantage of. But I'm convinced this defense is here to stay, and it's only going to get scarier because they've showed it for 3 straight games against good opponents. Kyle, let's go to you in Los Angeles. What do you need to see out of the Rams for them to be on top of the NFC West?
I need to see fewer names on the injured reserve list and fewer on the participation list. You know, the way this season has gone, as I've mentioned, is the fact that the Rams injuries have doomed them. And I know a lot of teams deal with injuries, okay? Don't cry me a river or anything, but I truly believe, especially if you get this offensive line intact and then you bring back a guy like Tyler Higbee, they're too good offensively. Now, the defense, as we saw against the Eagles, struggled quite a bit, and they need to be better. But when you look at this division and the fact that the Rams kind of have it all right in front of them. They've got 3 divisional games left, and right now they only have 1 divisional loss. And you all know how important divisional games are. A lot of players talk about it like it's almost like winning 2 games when you win against a divisional opponent. Right now the 49ers have 3 divisional losses, okay? Seattle has 2 divisional losses. The Rams only with 1, and they've got 3 divisional opponents still on the schedule. So I think as they get healthy and they play out the schedule, I think they're going to be in a really good position. Quite frankly, I think that final game of the regular season against Seattle here at SoFi Stadium, I think that's going to loom large. That may be for the divisional championship right there.
Okay, Keyshawn, I know the Niners have also experienced a ton of injuries. Are you going to use that as an excuse for this one, or are you going to find something else you need to see from the Niners for them to get back to the top of the NFC West division?
I'm going to use it a little bit, but it's not going to be the norm. I'm going to say they can't lose no more divisional games. They're 1-3, as we just mentioned just now, so you can't have no more division losses. And also, it's going to be very cliche when I say this, but it's a simple formula. No more lapses on special teams, no more double-digit missed tackles, and no more costly turnovers that ruins the offense momentum and gives it back to the opposition. So Niners, just do better on special teams, no more missed tackles, and stop having these bad turnovers that just swing the momentum to the opposing team. So if the Niners want to get to first place in NFC West, they got to do that and also win that last week against Arizona in Week 18.
That's going to be huge. Maybe just a few more made field goals from Jake Moody, too, I'm sure. Richard, what about Arizona?
Well, first of all, did Kyle really give us a Justin Timberlake reference with Cry Me a River? That's pretty impressive, you know. Yeah,
JT.
I still think Arizona's going to win the division. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I put it in my diary. I'm putting it in right now. Okay, look, I took a lot of heat, right? I had the haters. I felt the venom. I got clowned. But you know what? I can afford to pay them no mind, so I'm going to stay on my grind. I'm going with the Cardinals. I'm writing it down. Kyle was hating on the Cardinals, but he did give me a tip to pick up Tyler Higbee for the chimichanga, so I'm going to give you some credit on that one, Kyle. So, but yeah, look, I got news for you, Kyle. Aaron Donald's not walking through that door. You know, hey, listen, Gino is still not that guy. Hey, Keyshawn, your team's the walking wounded. The Cardinals are the class of this division. They control their own destiny. I know they haven't won in Minnesota since 1977 when you know, a Metcalf was scoring touchdowns that's related to DK Metcalf. You know, but look, the Cardinals, if they can beat the Seahawks here at home, which they will, then they got the Rams. They've got a couple of cupcakes. I know if you eat too many cupcakes, you get a stomachache, but look, we got a sweet tooth here in Arizona. They're going to beat New England. They're going to beat Carolina. They're going to win the division. I'm calling it right now.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. We love bold predictions, and we love even more when they're delusional bold predictions. Thank you, Richard. Okay, let's wrap things up here on the NFC West Huddle. It's Thanksgiving week, if you guys haven't heard, and I could not care less about food debates and whether or not you like candied yams. We're not going with that. We're going with the corny question about gratefulness. What makes each of you thankful for the city that you live in? Richard, other than losing to the Seahawks early and often, all the time in the great state of Arizona, what makes you grateful for the Phoenix area?
Well, the weather is fantastic, right? It's in the 70s here. It's great. And I love my job, to be honest with you. You know, I had an old producer one time turn next to me and he goes, "Science, do you have to laugh every day?" And I'm like, we're getting paid to talk about sports. Yeah, I'm going to laugh every day. We're laughing all the way to the bank here. I think all of us should be thankful for what we do and what we're doing. And I'm thankful for this NFC West Huddle. I'm also thankful for what happened today. I woke up, my limbs worked. I could see. I had a job. I had a car to get me to this job. So there's a lot to be thankful for. And tomorrow is going to be a great day because I don't wear slacks or jeans. It's all sweatpants, watching football, eating turkey, and giving thanks for all the great things I have in my life, including you guys. I give you guys a hard time, but I love you guys. I kid because I care. And as you can tell, I care a lot.
No, we feel it. We feel it. And that makes us all feel just so warm and fuzzy inside. We hate each other on the show, but it's all love, truly. Kyle, what makes you grateful for living in Los Angeles?
Well, first and foremost, unlike in Arizona, where the weather is great from November to March, the weather here in Southern California is perfect every single day. So we love the weather here. But, you know, more importantly than just the temperature, this is the city of champions. Who won the World Series this year, guys? I forgot. It was
How much did you pay for
already.
it?
Oh, that's right. It was the LA Dodgers. So we got the Dodgers as the.
But it's not like you guys got Blake
crowned...
Snell or anything now or anything like that.
Yeah. And by the way, Keyshawn, thank you very much for
the rich
Blake
getting
Snell.
richer.
We appreciate getting him from San Francisco, but the weather's great. We've got champions, LA Galaxy in the conference finals coming up on Saturday, so we may have another championship on the line. We've got AFC. We've got this is where it is. This is the mecca of sports, and we get to cover all these teams. And if one team stumbles a little bit, there's certainly just another one coming right around the bend to win another title for us. So to be able to do that in this great city of LA, we love it. And one other thing in my going out here is the coaches we have to cover are so entertaining. Sean McVay is a dream to cover on a regular basis. And oh, by the way, you guys, have you heard of Jim Harbaugh? He's now the head coach of the Los Angeles Chargers. I mean, this guy is like Christmas every day when you go to his news conferences and listen to the golden nuggets of information that he shares with us. So it's a joy to cover sports here in Los Angeles, and I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, I knew that was going to come up.
Who's got it better than Kyle? Nobody.
You know what? I don't like covering, championship parades anyways, so I'm happy to be up here.
Terrible.
Overrated.
Boring.
Overrated. Okay, Keyshawn, what about you? What's great about living in San Francisco?
Well, I don't actually live in San Francisco because it's a little bit too expensive for me. But living in the Bay Area is great. You have great weather, great food, and the pro teams are fantastic. I mean, the Niners has they're on a quest for 6. They got 5 championships. The Warriors had a dynasty. The Giants had a dynasty. This is a place of dynasties. But I'm going to get a little more specific. In the city I live in, which is about 32 miles from here, it's in Pittsburgh. I am grateful and thankful for that community because one thing I can say, no matter what pro team you root for, they all come together to root for their high school. Pittsburgh High School. It's a great football town. It's almost feeling like Friday Night Lights. All the town that come together on a Friday night to support one team. I am grateful for that community. I love Pittsburgh, but I love the Bay Area overall, a great place to live in.
No doubt.
I can't believe he commutes all the way from Pennsylvania. My goodness. Wow.
Yeah, I know.
Good on you, man.
I was thinking the same thing. Like my 40-minute commute is nothing compared to multiple hours and days.
There's a Pittsburgh in California. It's about 32 miles from Oakland. It's a great small town.
Geography. We're not just about football here. We're learning geography. Okay, love that. Friday Night Lights are so special, and I love that you shouted out that high school. Keyshawn, Seattle is awesome for so many reasons. No matter what area you're in, you're never far from water, whether it be seawater or a lake. We have a 2-time MLS championship soccer team that's about to take care of their second straight LA team down in Los Angeles. Kyle, you already got through LAFC, did the Sounders LA Galaxy on Saturday. Can't wait to just get right to MLS Cup and host it for Seattle. But you don't need the sun when you have great seafood like you do here in Seattle. We have all we need with the omega-3s. And I'm also incredibly grateful because this is where my family is. Seattle is where home is for me. And we all know in this business, you don't always get to work where you grow up. And I think it's such a blessing to be able to go 40 minutes or 30 minutes and see sister, brother, mother, father. I am grateful for all three of you. You each make this show so much fun. Thank you for your time. And thanks to everyone watching at home and for the comments online. They crack us all up, so keep that up.
Yes.
Just call out Richard and Kyle as often as you guys want to. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
No chimichangas.
We'll see you all next week.
Happy Thanksgiving.